In 1918, on the 11th hour, or the 11th minute of the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, we celebrate the end of the war to end all wars. At least that's what today was supposed to be originally. Welcome to Contro-Verse. On this Armistice Day, in the U.S. is generally referred to as Veterans Day and generally celebrated as such. It has been a week. For those of you watching at home, it will be a little bit less fresh, but maybe a little bit worse. It's important on days like this to remember that we have allies who do not look or think or feel like us. It's very important to remember that there are veterans out there who are crying and screaming and throwing up about what's happening right now. It's important for us to remember that we're all in this together, and I'm so happy to be in this room together with you all. It's been a very difficult time, but it's easier with friends. We are going to have a good show. We are going to get through this. We have an amazing feature in the house. Zeke Russell is here. Sorry you're here on a heavy one, man. We were not planning this. But first up, on the open mic, I would like for you all to put your hands together for the amazing, the wonderful Jeff Taylor.
I will try to be at least one of those things. All right, this poem here is Family Politics. I was kind of debating which poems to do, but I feel like this one will work out. I need to come up with a new one. This is a few years old now. When my dad tells me my uncle is skipping the family reunion so he can travel to a Trump rally, I think about my mom uploading official records into an internet database to prove we descended from John Adams, and it feels like we have been avoiding our family obligations. Not like we should have gone to more summer barbecues, but like we left work unfinished somewhere along the line. Now that our courts give more protection to praying on field after high school football games than they give to choice in women's health decisions, and Congress cares more about getting likes from QAnon conspiracy theorists than they care about protecting school children from mass shooters, the significance of July 4th coming and going while we watch the January 6th hearings pulls through my intestines like I'm crammed shoulder to shoulder in the back of a Ford Escape with John Adams and every other man I've been related to on a road trip to nowhere, poorly attempting to hold in a fart laced with the odor of personal responsibility. I'm reminded of when Trump told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by, and the role the choices my ancestors made played in getting us there in the first place. Then I try to picture what it would be like to live in a world where doves and wolves bathe each other in truth. When my wife ran for city council, the question she was asked most was, "Who's going to watch the kids?" At least she won, though, too.
Thank you, Chris. Next up on the mic, Kathleen, who we love, who we wish to see more of. Please come on up here. Give us something from your book.
So this is just a segment of like a 20 stanza poem that I wrote, titled after punk songs. And so this one's titled Gay Edge Revenge, after Gabriella Biscuit's song, Gay Edge Revenge. Buckets of rainbow paint splashing all over cathedrals, people kissing beneath the shadows of the cross on the lawn, shaming bigots by letting their neighbors know that they live next to a homophobe, bricks spray painted with purple dick, shattered windows, bouquets of translucent strap-ons glisten in the sun, every victim of hate crime or suicide brought back to life. Thank you.
Who's ready for the feature? Next coming up on the mic is our featured poet, Zeke Russell, was born into a community of anarchists, poets, playwrights, and lumberjacks. He is a poet and housing advocate operating in Greater Boston. His work has appeared in Wyvern Lit, Drunk in a Midnight Choir, Freeze Ray Poetry, Maps for Teeth, I was in that one, and on Button Poetry Online. His debut collection, Wintered Over, is available from Game Over Books. He lives with his partner Milo and summers in a hole in the ground back in his native central Maine. Please give a big round of applause for Zeke Russell.
Yeah, it's actually a cabin now. We finished it, so that's nice. It's got electricity and everything, but still no inside toilet. Keeping it real. I had a whole planned out set, and then I decided to open with two different poems, so I'll have to make sure that I watch the time. I'm just gonna start that so I have some accountability. And because it is Armistice Day, I'm going to read this poem by Alan Seeger, who was Pete Seeger's uncle, which is a weird thing, but here we go. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade. When spring comes back with rustling shade and apple blossoms fill the air, I have a rendezvous with death. When spring brings back blue days and fair, it may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land and close my eyes and quench my breath. It may be I shall pass him still, but I have a rendezvous with death on some scarred slope of battered hill. When spring comes round again this year, and the first meadow flowers appear, God knows 'twere better to be deep pillowed in silk and scented down, where love throbs out in blissful sleep, pulse nigh to pulse and breath to breath, where hushed awakenings are dear. But I have a rendezvous with death at midnight in some flaming town, when spring trips north again this year, and I to my pledged word am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous. And he did not. He wrote that in the winter of 1917, and he perished in the spring campaign. And he left us like 30 poems. So this is a poem I wasn't going to do, but this is a poem I was a punk rocker in the 90s. In Malden and Everett was where I went to a lot of shows. There were a lot of shows in like abandoned warehouses and train yards. I know Jeff and I were probably in the same place at the same time, but did not know each other. So this is a poem about that that took place in what it was now across the street from Night Shift, but was this like abandoned loading dock. Yeah, and the shows would take place on the loading dock, and you'd all kind of crowd around and get rained on and stuff. So this happened kind of a long time ago, in this time we call the 90s, where all kinds of crazy, stupid shit took place, and we thought it was cool when most of it wasn't, and we thought it was clever, and really it was pretty fucking dumb. But I was really into it, partly because I was from the middle of nowhere, and so going to shows in basements and elk lodges and union halls was pretty exciting, and because I discovered this club that had a great uniform of Doc Martens with gold laces and gold suspenders, and I was like, look at me, man, I'm in the club. Sometimes people would come in from other clubs, and some we liked and some we didn't, but the club that no one liked was the club of the fucking Nazis. And I don't know why there were so many Nazis and punk based in Allston, Massachusetts in 1996, but there totally were. And most of the time we punched each other for like 10 minutes and then everybody went home. But this one time I went to a show that was in some kind of abandoned warehouse in fucking Everett, and my friend Crazy Mike was there. And Crazy Mike's grandparents were from Poland, and they were Jewish. And Crazy Mike was called Crazy Mike because he would do a line of anything for $5, from cinnamon and sugar to non-dairy coffee creamer. But like I said, Crazy Mike's grandparents were Jewish, and so you might have an idea where this is heading. And then a bunch of guys in the Nazi club showed up, and this wasn't the usual shaved heads with a swastika here or there and an armband or a tattoo. These guys were honest to God, polished leather, twin lightning bolt, replica fucking SS uniforms. Nazis. And so we started punching them. And it was more or less a back and forth kind of thing, and I've never been good at violence, so I was kind of grabbing guys and not really hurting them. And the band wasn't even playing anymore, and I look, and here's Crazy Mike, and he's popped the goddamn air conditioner out of the window, and he's walking over to the biggest, most Nazi-looking motherfucker there, and he just brings the AC down on the guy's back and shoulders, and it was like silence. Like everything stopped, like violence was canceled. And everybody just left at once, like the thing we played at was suddenly real and never belonged to us. Yesterday, a man who was more or less elected president said there was no difference between the Nazis and the Nazi fighters. Like Mike wasn't entitled to his rage. Like wearing the mask of the beast who tried to kill everyone who looks and talks like you isn't a threat worth hitting with the biggest, heaviest thing you can find. So like, Crazy Mike is now an adjunct professor of English at Northeastern, which is, I really want to go to like freshman comp and be like, let me tell you a story about this guy. So that's, yeah, now back to the actual set that I put on my Kindle. I have a book. I don't think any of the poems I'm going to read tonight are actually in the book. But you can buy it. It's on Game Over Books. There's only 3 left, which is why I don't have any with me. It's not as cool as it sounds. The warehouse lost like 50 copies. But I sold 150 copies. I sold 100 copies and I was ecstatic. Probably way behind on time because I'm talking so much. No, not so bad. So this is from a collection I'm working on, and it starts with 2 quotations. A man may drink and not be drunk. A man may fight and not be slain. Traditional. Time treats everybody like a fool. Warren Zevon. And this is a poem entitled Chag Pesach, or April 11th, 2020. In 3 days I will, for the 27th time, mourn a man I never met. And then 4 days later, I will celebrate the 16th anniversary of the last time I shot dope into my arm. Today, my brother and I eat breakfast, and it is a sacrament. Like that meal where a Jewish carpenter told his friends to consume him. In 3 days, death. In 10, a resurrection. I know it's bullshit to make myself Christ in my own poems. So instead, I think of my grandfather's faith and wonder if it is his ritual that I perform a week early this year, to share bread, to remember what was lost and what was gained, to give thanks for survival, deliverance, to hold close the small, sweet act of living. All right, so this collection basically takes place during quarantine, and during quarantine, I went back to Central Maine and like lived with my mom back in my hometown in the middle of a plague. And I was like, I am a sober writer who fled a troubled childhood and has now returned in the middle of a plague. It's a Stephen King novel. So in the depths of quarantine boredom, I discover I can watch old Ring of Honor matches from the late 2000s. Brian Danielson, back when that was his name, Christopher Daniels and Steve Carino, Nigel McGuinness, not yet retired, all of them, and the crunch and chair shot and the crowd yelling woo whenever anyone chops anyone else, the peace of mind that only watching grown men jump from high places onto each other in a shadow play of combat and contest can give you. And in the third one I watch, filmed in Boston, I see myself in the audience. My buddy Jason to my right, and as we watch Mark Briscoe fight Necro Butcher as chunks of table rain the front row like the rubble of our joy. I have not thought of Jason since he died and I gave his parents $50 so that they could bury him. The difference between fake and staged is what makes wrestling the magic that it most certainly is, and I know that Jason is dead. This is real, but there he is in front of me as Mark lays out Necro Butcher with the ring bell. Jason thumps his hand down on the back of my chair, fingers wrapping around my shoulder, and in excitement we share, and all of us are screaming, and the camera moves to the other side of the ring. I look out the window at the empty street, turn off my computer, grab my own shoulder with my own hand, and squeeze, and squeeze. How we doing? All right, looking good. This poem is called The Parting Glass. In the collection, I'm going to only read 2 of them, but there are 7 poems called The Parting Glass, which is an old traditional Celtic song. The Parting Glass. Late September lands on the neck like a kiss that is maybe a lover, maybe your own hand, maybe the bottle tipped back into the throat, sliding down into you, a welcome, burning nothing. You don't have to clap for everyone, it's cool. This poem is called Ode to Joan Baez, ending in song. In the living room of the rented house on a hill in Solon, Maine, the record player floods me with a cold drink of cider voice, a song whose words my little boy brain cannot make sense of. I just know my mother sings along when my stepfather is not in the room. The things he has done and will do to me in my mother's house are not here. The now is only Joan Baez, singing Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. Off the scratchy turntable, my mother's sing-song voice, my preschool feet thumping rhythm on the hardwood floor. 35 years later, I hear the song again, live this time, the farewell tour. My mom was there at the beginning, Newport. I thought she should be here at the end. The voice is not the same as it was on the record. It's been used, it's been traveled, it's had a living made off of it. Baez says something funny about Dylan without hate, and as if all the old hurts are just a joke, and she has managed to grind off all the sharp edges, all those nights singing those words, this melody, this song that rocked every cradle my child's body lay in. I start to cry, take my mother's hand, lean forward, and open my mouth to sing. The Parting Glass. Sleep seeps into the brain like mist saturates cloth. Standing in front of the sink, toothbrush sliding back into the slot in the holder, your hand wraps around the plastic cup, twists the valve open, raises it to the lips, cold water wipes the mouth empty, and then fills it again, slides down the throat, loosening the dry places, this cup, this swallowing, this last act, before feet carry the aching body to blankets and surrender. So this is a form poem, which I do sometimes, when I can figure them out. Villanelle for the recovering alcoholic's throat. The bells that say a new day comes are ringing. Pain ripples out with each new gulp of air, and all the drunks inside my throat are singing. Each breath its own wound raw and stinging, each breath without a drink, a prayer. The bells that say a new day comes are ringing. The ghosts I drank 10 years ago are springing up to look me in the eyes and stare, and all the drunks inside my throat are singing. I remember in those days I was clinging to anything that would keep me there, The bells that say a new day comes are ringing, ringing so loud I see the door that's swinging, open to show what waits if I should choose to pay the fare. And all the drunks inside my throat are singing the song that's just one more moment bringing me in this body to this tiny moment where the bells that say a new day comes are ringing, and all the drunks inside my throat are singing. So thank you. I got the chronic pain, and so this is a poem about that. I hope you can hear me. I recently suffered some facial paralysis, so I'm still a little mush-mouthed. Fossil record. When it rains this many days in a row, my body straightens out like a broom handle. Every piece of me cooling hard and stiff. When I move on these mornings, I have to break all my joints again. I remember the me before pain, and it feels like the memory of sleep. Shadow burned on a wall. A thing that lived once. So this is a very short poem, because I used to be part of a workshop group. And the thing that said in the poem was the thing my friend Mark Dones, the poet Mark Dones, said. West Barnstable, Massachusetts, September 2021. My friend says, if you bring me the ocean, don't get cute about it. So I tell you this, looking at it, swallowed me. Wading in, dragged me under. Walking out, scraped me clean. My love is afraid of the dark. When I come out of the bathroom after brushing my teeth, they are already in the bed. This is my task, to retrace their retreat from the day, putting out the lights behind them. I let the darkness grow at my back, wiggle into the bed, pushing against their body, reaching left arm back, finding the last switch, turn the room to night. This is a weird poem. And I don't know if I was going to read it, but let me check the time, see where we're at. All right, we're heading into the big finish. I am going to read this poem, and then I'm going to go directly into the big finish. No, I'm not going to read that poem. It's too weird. Why not? I don't know. I read a lot of Lovecraft as a kid. There are doors in the quiet hours of the night in small towns that straddle rivers and highways, the kind of doors that long-haul truckers see and do not see, or see and do not bother with. If you are the special sort of person who walks at these times and in these places, you already know what I am talking about. You have already gone through one door in one place and come out another far away. You have walked those misty corridors, those silent passages deep under the town and the river, or maybe a small town at 2 a.m. is just a small town at 2 a.m. The closed bar, empty hardware store, convenience store open with a clerk drowsing behind the counter. But if you are the kind of person who walks in these places at these times, maybe you can't tell what is and what isn't. Maybe you don't care. So I told you it was weird. So this is the big finish. I really wanted to do this poem because I wanted Jeff to hear it. I was in a performance where we were given a prompt, and the prompt that I got was massholes. So I wrote this poem. Let's do some fucking poems, kid. Listen, kid. The plums you had in the fridge, kid, you saving for fucking Cynthia's baptism? I fucking crushed them, kid. They were the shit. Cold as a well digger's ass. Listen, kid, that falcon is spinning all fucking sideways. That falcon can't hear shit. Things go tits up, kid. The center is fucked. Listen, kid, the woods, kid, they're fucking great, all fucking dark and shit. But I got shit to do, kid. I ain't got time to sit around here playing fuck. I didn't know what to make of it either. When I moved from rural Maine to Lowell, Massachusetts, I know now it is the truest poetry you will ever know. But then I heard the way people talked, how it stuck to the sidewalk like dirty ice. And of course, I was already into the pills then and there, along the Merrimack, in one more dead mill town. I might have died there, but this one time my shoe was untied and a woman, her wig sideways, her breath all southern comfort, made me stop and let her tie it, looked me in the face and said, "Everybody needs help sometimes, honey." And on she stumbled over the Rourke Bridge to wherever angels go. And to the people who saw me walking a mile to work in 10 below wind chill, who opened the car doors and said, "Christ's sake, get in, you'll freeze your ass out there." And whoever it was that wrote in the depths of February into a snowbank with their own urine, "Go Red Sox." The drunk, middle-aged guy in a dirty bees hoodie who leaned out the window, pointed at my dog and said, "Take care of that dude, he's a feckin' legend." This is what happens to the R's that drop off their words. They give them to strangers. They keep them alive. They get them sober. This language they make, it's magic. It wets throats in summer, plows snow, keeps feet dry, feeds, comforts, lives. And that's what it taught me. That's what I've been doing these 24 years, living. The fuck else you want me to do? Life lasts about as long as a fart in the wind, kid. Listen, kid, you only get one shot at this thing. Question is, the fuck you gonna do with it? How are we doing? All right, we got a minute, so we're gonna try to close this out real quick. 2 quick poems. Everyone is writing a poem about the eclipse, and I can only think of how this morning on my way to work, my fingers stung with cold, my breath visible in the air. But this afternoon when I walked home from the train, I rolled my sleeves up to the elbow, let sun and warm air on my skin, and thought about all the things that cover and uncover other things and how you can't always look at them straight on. And this is my last poem. This is going to be the last poem in the collection. It is a bummer, so... This is March 17th, 2020, Lerone, Maine. Old Norridge Walk Road stretches out, climbs up Bigelow Hill like a fat black ribbon. The air is early morning cold and tastes like cold metal. Tomorrow a late spring storm will knock out all the power on this road. I turn myself and my dog back down the hill. We watch out for cars. There is no sidewalk. By this time next year, the dog will be dead. Today, there is no storm, but you can tell it's coming. Thank you so much.
Everybody keep it going for Zeke Russell. I appreciate anybody who reminds us that every day is Punch a Nazi Day. Definitely something we need right now. All right, so... I have the joy of getting to pick who gets to follow that. Will it be the gentleman who has been hanging out and listening for weeks and is just today bringing his first poem, or the long-suffering Ann who made sure that we could actually do this today and opened up the studio just for... Who do I torture? You guys. Oh, it's Tripp. You're coming up here.
All right, so this is actually not the poem I expected to bring. I grabbed the wrong piece of paper, but this is a good poem, I feel like. It's... Sure, let's do a little groovy alt thing. I wrote this one about, what's this, November? So like 8 months ago. All right. You would brighten every day like a sunbeam, taking me every place like a fun dream, crush me like a brick of clay in the country club 'cause you fly away like a bungee. You got me, you had me, I'm running head first. I slide through your fingers like I'm Bruce Hurst. I'm breaking a sweat and my brain's about to burst. Each day was a blessing, you made it a curse. Your sweet brown eyes make me walk the line. You got me high when you look in mine. Wish I saw you hide your real side when you said goodbye for the last time. My house is on Gray Street, the colors in my chest. Got paper on my tongue, they call that ego death. I listen to the rumors of Lindsay and Stevie. They feed me the heartache, and that's what needs me. I know your dudes fly up in the air like 5G. I bet I see you riding shotgun in the front of his GT. I take my shit from Greg and Dwayne on the midnight ride, and I'm smoking away my pain so I can save my pride.
That was fantastic. Thank you. All right, Ann, now it's your turn. You ready to come up here? Everybody, please, big round of applause for Ann. She is setting her own camera before she comes up here. Come on, you guys.
Okay. So I wrote this well before the election, but feels like an election piece. To continue to be. How to continue to be in this world, day to day, the cycle of mourning, forcing wakefulness from a restless sleep. The days gone by of deep slumber, of restful peace. Now the worries enter the mind, the anxiety of existence, in a world gone mad, gone threadbare in hope, wandering non-tread paths of darkness, danger. But once arisen, get on one's knees and pray. Be grateful for all that one has, for all that is good, for all that is possible, all one can hope to do, to be, to experience. Move through the morning routines. Read, write, stretch, jump up and down with 10 minutes of Zumba till the heart starts to beat, upbeat, energy in the veins. Make chai, text a friend, make a connection, pet the dog, take a walk, feel the air, the weather, ever changing. Know that you are needed, that your presence matters, that you are someone to somebody. The news is bad. It brings despair, frustration, even rage. It must be consumed in small bites. Do not overindulge, or you will be deluged, or you will be filled with information, darkness, heaviness. Find a connection with someone, something, music that moves you, a smile, a laugh, and do what you can to have agency, to be an agent of change, and not let the world just happen to you. This is how one continues to be.
Thank you, Ann. All right, who's next? Oh, this is exciting. We've got Decker in the house, and Decker is going to be a feature in just a few short weeks, so enjoy your preview. Decker, come on up here.
All right, thank you for that intro. So I'm going to do a piece that's very experimental. You can do kind of like experimental aerial view of all the shit that has existed in America from the time of black and white documentary reels. Because this was inspired by watching America in Color, which is like a documentary about all the black and white newsreels that were like colorized. So I titled it Ameera Iftekhar, Color, America in Color. All right, start. JFK was a Lindbergh baby, that's right. He gave 100 to support efforts to tear others down. Let us not ask others to fight your own battles, but let others get walloped instead. It's a terrible war cry, but what is a baby to do? America's first ad nauseum loop, first fight to fight against not fighting, Nazi, Stalin, and fascism, in fashion at the time. 158, a number drawn in an obligatory lottery without winners. 6,000 soldiers going to fight as Lindbergh shouts, the British, the Jews, and the administration. New enemies to distract depressed Americans like beer and Skittles, falling from a blitzkrieg bopping and blasting Europe to bits. Roosevelt, a third-termer, never a third-rater, rallies and wins, reminding a battle-worn people to restock the arsenal of democracy. Ask not where we go from here, but dig in the blood of the earth, flip over the darkness and light the light, blaze up higher and devour the mold. Yes, America has been here before, making it great again, but in color this time, in case the blood flowing black was not enough. 429, the U.S. naval fleet sunk to infamy, 18 ships and thousands of souls floating. America's first fighters, petitioning to join the Air Force to fight from the white-eyed view of their God. I ask myself, if the salvage patrol was seeking rubber to win the war, why did we have so many monster tires on the farm, and the luxury of a tire swing collecting water and spreading a viral bloodthirsty disease? Bombs falling as my papa's feet fly in the air back and forth, only the sky as their limit. Why did we have tire swings when even Bambi's mother saw him bashed in compact pieces, liquefied, refashioned, and molded into bombs and bullets? If there are 17 million breaths in one person, 1 decade, then how many sighs have we, yes, us, evaporated into cries shouting, buy bombs, buy bonds, buy more bombs? The first American war victim explodes in the gloom over the lights of Vegas. Her Hollywood star fell, so her husband Clark Gable took up arms to replace those he could no longer hold. Aki, young native boy, Uncle Sam's boy now. Order 9066, move the disloyal to the desert, shut down the cleaners and cooks until we starve in our own filth. Land grab? Possibly. I don't know. Ask the witches in Salem. Oh wait, I forgot. They can't reply with cotton in their mouth. There's more, but...
Thank you, Decker. Next up on the list, Daryl, you here? You ready? All right, let's go.
Thank you. This is untitled. The hopelessly tangled mess of thoughts, emotions, memories, and what-ifs wakes me again, as it does most nights, churning relentlessly through my head like tumbleweeds. No, not them. Tumbleweeds are driven by a purposeful wind and so have a start and an end. This has no beginning or end. Maybe a washing machine, agitating, buffeting, and spinning. No, not that either. A washing machine has a rhythm that is soothing. This is in no way soothing. More like the unpredictable turbulence of ocean waves in a maelstrom, or the chaos of a violent feeding frenzy beneath, ripping me apart at the seams, and always precipitated by the memory of those words. I wish you were single, I wish we were dating. 10 small words. Actually, 7, if you really think about it. Just 50 millimeters on a polished glass screen, and a mere millisecond for the brain to register. How can something that measures so small be the chum that fuels such turmoil, the source of such anguish and anxiety, and a crushing sense of loss for what could have been? But suddenly a new perspective, something to steady around, like the lead keel that keeps the hull upright no matter the force of the storm. I wish you were single, I wish we were dating. In that millisecond, at least I know our souls were connected. Just that once, whether ever before or hence. An immutable fact in an otherwise sea of questions. So when I reach the end and the time comes to take an accounting of my life, when I tackle the task of untangling that mess of everything that has come before and putting it all in its rightful place, at the center will be a knot that can never be dismantled. 10, no, 7, small words, 50 millimeters on a screen, a millisecond of confirmed connection, infinitesimal relative to the length of a life, but of infinite magnitude towards making it one that was worth living. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. Next up, we have new to the open mic. Everybody, please give a very warm welcome to Ameera.
I had something printed out, but the mood changed, so let's get naked tonight. Stay angry, my friend. When I was 6 years old, I was the only brown child in my Girl Scout troop. While the other girls were blonde and blue-eyed with sleek, shiny hair like waterfalls and petite kitten-like noses, I had dark, thick, frizzy hair that could put a comb out of its misery, and eyes the color of dirt. My nose spanned continents, taking acres out on my little face. My mother called me beautiful. The other troop moms gawked at my wild and curly baby hairs. My first-grade teacher called me a terrorist. My mother called me beautiful. A boy threatened to shoot me in the head one day for killing his dad on 9/11. A girl called me the N-word. My mother called me beautiful. But was I beautiful despite not being the color of peaches, with hair like sun rays reflecting on your kitchen floor, eyes like a cloudless midsummer sky, and gently tanned legs out of cut-off shorts that stretched out into forever? The American dream. When auditioners in a small-town theater production told me I didn't have the look, when my father told me I had the talent to be a singer if only you were white, when I couldn't find my skin in the concealer aisle in the back of the drugstore, what was the cost of beauty? What parts of me did I have to sell to earn it? How much did I have to burn my hair and tweeze my brows and bleach my skin and shave and nick and cut and bleed out of my thick and hairy arms and legs and cunt to have a boy ask me to dance? They turned their backs on me. The boys, the girls, when teachers in class asked me to be a part of their current events unit, whether or not I had the right to live in this country, whether or not I had the right to live at all. One by one, glorious democracy piled on its nose, only to have its voters face me at the lockers after class, where we stood side by side, their gemstone eyes downcast as they insisted that I was different. I'm different. Of course. Because when I pray to Allah with my hijab wrapped around my head, when I kneel before Allah on my janamaz, Allahu Akbar, I am different from the little girl in Palestine we buried under rubble and soot. I'm different from the people we shot, knelt down in prayer in their own house of God. You spit on me and ask me to smile out of gratitude for the white man's blessings upon my humble family, the color of shit, else we'll be buried in shit just as well. My mother called me beautiful. My friends had eyes the color of the sea, of trees, of honey, with hair spun gold and crisp autumn, with ivory faces that reddened like roses when they left. My eyes were the color of shit. My hair was the color of shit. My skin was the color of shit. And when I laughed, I still remained shit. I'm at the drugstore, choosing between porcelain and manure, while the shiny poster of a white lady holds my reflection captive. But my mother called me beautiful. I have skin that glows like the ripples in velvet in moonlight that can take in the sun and send out its rays. I have hair as thick and as dark as a forest beneath a moonless sky. I have eyes as brown as the soil that we come from and the soil that we return to. I have my mother's eyes. I have my ancestors' nose. I have broad shoulders that carried us all across the ocean, and thick arms to roll out the dough for paratha, and thick legs to tread us through cyclones. I am 26 years old. I have dark, thick, frizzy hair that could put a comb out of its misery, and eyes the color of dirt, the color of shit, the color of dark chocolate and soil full of life and death. My mother called me beautiful. I don't want to be beautiful. I just want to be. Thank you.
Ameera, stop making the host cry. It was amazing. Thank you. Andrea. I just did it in order. People came in. Everybody, friend of the show, long suffering, the amazing and wonderful and beautiful Andrea Donna.
All right. Well, not matching that energy, so. Ethan, thank you, darling. You can take a break. I'm going to do some Marianne Moore. This is The Paper Nautilus. For authorities whose hopes are shaped by mercenaries, writers entrapped by tea time fame and by commuters' comforts, not for these, the paper nautilus constructs her thin glass shell, giving her perishable souvenir of hope a dull white outside and smooth-edged inner surface, glossy as the sea. The watchful maker of it guards it day and night. She scarcely eats until the eggs are hatched. Buried eightfold in her 8 arms, for she is, in a sense, a devilfish. Her glass, ram's horn-cradled freight is hid but not crushed. As Hercules, bitten by a crab loyal to the Hydra, was hindered to succeed, the intensively watched eggs, coming from the shell, free it when they are freed, leaving its wasp nest flaws of white on white and close-laid ionic chitin folds like the lines in the mane of a Parthenon horse, round which the arms had wound themselves, as if they knew love is the only fortress strong enough to trust to.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, everybody. An exciting thing happened today. There was a positive thing that happened today, I promise you. We were getting ready, and somebody walked up and was like, wait, is there an open mic? Can we just walk in? And so everybody, I am so excited to introduce the second person who is going to be performing in a Patriots jersey. First time on the mic. Everybody give it up for Danny.
How's it going? I haven't been writing very long. Can you all hear me? Yeah. All right, cool. Haven't been doing this very long. Haven't been doing this for very long. This is the first poem that I wrote. It's just about heartbreak and addiction. It's called Broken Stems. Broken stems and shattered dreams. I lost myself somewhere in between. Rationale and crooked thoughts. Lost the fight that I never fought. Wanting to live, but praying to die. Looking at myself, asking God why. Longing for happiness, all I feel is pain. Am I myself, or have I gone insane? Scalding hot crack pipes melting my skin. Can't take a shower, can't wash away sin. Can't look in the mirror, can't brush my teeth. Can't get out of bed, can't change the sheets. A monster of loss is the cause of this misery. Booze, pills, and coke is all that remains of me. Once again in the mirror, the sight makes me shiver. Another huge blast, the blow makes me quiver. Tremble and shake, my heart begins to race. I won't last much longer, I can't keep up this pace. Broken stems are the equivalent to my broken heart. Tiny shards of glass broken and spread far apart. New stem, fresh chore, load a huge hit. Up until now, I was never willing to quit. Go up, come down, trials and tribulations. Getting closer to death, feeling those heart palpitations. They say our disease will wait patiently, so sick, I wait patiently for my disease. Waiting for my moment to strike for a substance that brings me to my knees. Broken stems and scattered dreams cook my shit inside a spoon. Confused and alone, locked inside an empty room. I am my father's son, one of a kind, second to none. Do my drugs and hide, a heartless lion in this jungle who lost his whole pride. Screaming down the highway of life, hop in and come speed with me. The savages surrounding me will show you how to do a $1.50. Ride the train of consequence, solidify a seat inside first class. Never sleep, forget to eat, always feel like ass. Our eyes caught one another's from well across the room. Her name was Cynthia Lee, and she flew me straight to the moon. We had a bright future, she had a dark past. We went on dates and played chess, we always had a blast. We became best friends before we became lovers. Something inside me knew right then and there I would never choose another. I made a fatal mistake and broke my soulmate's heart. Used to live together, now we've grown so far apart. My love, my soulmate, she took a long walk. Left me alone with a crack pipe in the dark. How can I blame? Why do I complain? I did this to myself, filled with absolute shame. My star, she left me and found someone better. Thinking about that, my eyes getting wetter. Alone again I stand out in the cold purple rain. Last thing on my list, a suicide shot to the brain. I miss her so much, her laugh and her touch. Once again, in the end, I broke a good girl's heart. Addiction ruins life, took away my kids and future wife. I took the hit, I took the bait. How many of you out there can relate? Break it all down until my life becomes a hassle. Burn bridges, build up walls, call me Punisher. I am Frank Castle. God, please silence all this noise as my mind races and starts to scream. Time to live out all my fantasies on the requiem for a dream. A strange thing happened, though, inside this rehab. I met some true friends who talked me off a ledge and taught me to believe in myself again. Jason, Ty, and all the rest of my guys. In this RCA unit, our strength and unity never dies. Coming back to life, I'm dreaming of all the honeys. Ty and I in the upstairs window cracking jokes about those silly bunnies. I was strung out and skinny on the verge of extinction. Back in the gym, I'm the king of rebuilds defined by definition. I'm eating my meals, gaining weight, and going straight. At 45 years old, take it from me, it's never too late. Writing down thoughts, I'm composing my eulogy, saying goodbye to a world that's been cruel to me. Demons drag me down, God stands up and scores a win for me. I'm starting all over, I'm rewriting history. Like Machine Head said, turn this desire to fire. Saturday night deadlines, this poem came down to the wire. Stage fright and shy, I'm starting to freak. No matter what, I can't let this ship sink. Prevail by daring to fail, set loose my craft and put up the sails. Exhale the vial, inhale new life, lost dreams awaken, new possibilities arise. Damn, I broke another stem. I broke another heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you for being here. All right. Up next, a woman to whom I owe an apology. Linda has been on this mic multiple times, and she came in today. I was like, I don't remember your name. I'm so sorry. Everybody, please put your hands together for the amazing Linda.
Can you hear me if I'm not in the mic? You gotta be on the mic. Oh. Hi. Hello? Okay, thank you. So this is in kind of continuous rewrite. It's called A Song of Mourning. I sit beneath spruce branches and up upon his roots for solace and strength. Then notice browning patches, climate change effects. Such sadness as my friend drips sticky tears round about me on the ground. Sap seeking down rough bark, drops unnoticed on my head, flattens curls, gluing single strands into masses. Stiff and unexpected without a hint of warning. Unlike a land of war-razed buildings, there exploding bombs portend the rubble that swallows desolate cries and tombs whole families and miscellaneous body parts, where dust and oblivion suffocate song and promise. Blasted cities, decimated peoples, annihilated cultures. Hope and life force leaking from this once healthy tree creates a hollow in me, slowly filling full with grief, as do the souls who choose this time to exit earth, escaping hatred, avarice, and dissonance, to flee or be freed from this unholy mess that mankind has created.
Thank you so much, Linda. Up next, we have a face that might be familiar to some of you. She's been on a bit of a hiatus, but she has graced us with her presence again, and we're so happy to see her. Please, big round of applause for Kittay.
I have ADHD. No music. Thank you. So I honestly, I'm reading this. This has been in my head, so you know what? This is how I feel about performing, actually. And it's funny because a lot of people seem to think that I have a ton of confidence, but I stand up. I feel like I'm about to get hit by a freight train. My body shakes, hands trembling, this weird, anxious rage controlling my heart with jump scares and taunts. My mind races, desperate to run away, trying to convince me this isn't real. I force myself back to this place I'm in. My mind wanders again. Snap out of it. Pay attention. My vision blurs. I disassociate while I get up and release this ball of passion and give everything, putting it all out there until I'm depleted and void of emotion. It takes every ounce of my strength and courage to fuel my voice with power. I used to feel meaningless, like my soul would devour every good idea I had and distort my wisdom into dark thoughts that didn't hold truth or matter. It was like pouring my dreams into an empty pit, never to return again. Or sometimes spitting up corroded doubts, misleading me so I wouldn't put my work out. The truth is, I'm still scared. Scared to stand up here. Fear gives me an adrenaline rush, but when I'm done speaking, I feel like mush. I try to prep myself before, pep talking to the mirror, deep breaths. You got this. Yet, I always feel so unprepared. I'm starting off small, not even putting in my all, because if I can't get over the fear of standing up here, relaying my life and experiences to an audience, how can I put something bigger out there? You can't try to shoot for the stars but get stuck in the trees before you even reach the sky. So you take a tiny step towards where you want to go and see if you can make it grow. I know I'm capable. It's just imposter syndrome trying to take hold. I exude confidence even while shaking in my boots because I'm passionate about what I'm saying. And I want others to gain a little inspiration or have an opportunity for wisdom to break away. It helps me too, because each time I get up, I'm working on the fear. I'm taking a step, a leap really, towards what I want to do with my time here.
We had a very packed open mic, and that is actually our show. We do not have time for round two. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Huge round of applause again for Anne, who opened up the studio and made this possible. Thank you, Anne. Keep it going for Matt, who did reception today, and for Diana, who took pictures of everybody so we can put something on our social media. This is the Contro-Verse. We meet here in UMA every second and fourth Monday until such a time as they kick us out of the building or we don't want to do it anymore. Good night, everyone.